Addiction is a real and problematic thing a lot of people experience on a day-to-day basis, and that's shown and reflected even in the media we consume as everyday people. Even our greatest comic book characters cannot escape their own demons, such as Iron Man and his alcoholism. There have even been stories where Batman has fallen into addiction himself, seeking to be a better hero. There have also been more overt ones, such as Roy Harper getting addicted to heroin. But then there are some more subtle ones, such as Spider-Man and his addiction to the black suit. But I want to make something very clear. Addiction is a disease, and if you or somebody you know is suffering from it, please seek help or seek treatment, or ask them, talk to them, be there for them. I have linked down in the description sources to help, at least US sources, to help battle addiction. You are not alone. Never forget that. And without further ado, let's start this video. Heavy spoilers for both Insomniac's first Spider-Man game and their second Spider-Man game. You've been warned. When we get to meet Peter in the first Insomniac Spider-Man game, he's already been through a lot. He's had his tussles with Kingpin, his typical Sinister Six battles, but now we're seeing him out of college and just having to deal with even worse things. His greatest mentor, Otto Octavius, had turned against him and essentially went insane in the pursuit of making his dreams to help people better, to make them come true. Spider-Man even lost his Aunt May at the very end of the first game, and that was something that truly hit him hard. Spider-Man basically has had terrible luck when it comes to the Insomniac verse, but what Spider-Man hasn't? Unfortunately, it doesn't exactly get better at the start of the second game. Peter had just landed himself a teaching job at Miles Morales' school, and unfortunately lost it on the very first day because Sandman decided to rampage through the city, and Peter had to abandon his entire class, of course, in order to go stop Sandman. Once again, Spider-Man is affecting Peter's life in a negative way. And to make things even worse, there is a new villain who is coming to New York seeking to kill all of Spider-Man's greatest villains in some sort of sick and twisted hunt. Some of them aren't even technically his villains, depending on how you see Black Cat.
You say you're a good girl, I say you're a liar. I'm such a good girl, love a vampire.
But not everything has been bad for Peter. He's recently rekindled his relationship with Mary Jane, and it seems to be going pretty well. Not to mention, his best friend Harry has just gotten back from being sick and having to have treatment, and Peter has sorely been missing Harry ever since he's been gone. But just when things start to seem like they're going up for Peter, as per usual, they go down in a pretty spectacular fashion. Kraven has launched his attacks and assaults, trying to hunt down the Spider-Man villain Tombstone, recently reformed villain, mind you. But in the chaos, they end up destroying multiple carnival rides and are endangering the lives of civilians. And for once, Peter can't save them all. It actually takes Harry, along with his new cure for his disease, to come and save him, essentially forcing Peter to reconcile with the fact that no matter how much good Peter seems to do throughout the city, even when it comes to something as simple as reforming his villains, it seems like it's always one step forward, two steps back for him, as every time he seems to get a leg up, he is kicked right back down and reminded that nothing he does kind of matters. And it gets even worse when Peter is unable to save the Lizard from Kraven, and unfortunately, even worse, is damn near stabbed to death in the process of fighting with Kraven. So when Peter is on his deathbed, Harry decides to give his gift, the one thing that has saved him and kept him alive. He has decided to give it to Peter. And when Peter receives the symbiote, It's like he's the most powerful version of himself that he's ever been. He's easily able to dispatch hunters in a way he wasn't anywhere near doing before. He felt powerful. As a matter of fact, he felt great, like he wasn't just dying nearly minutes ago. But when Peter tried to give the suit back to Harry, seeing as Harry needed it to live, the suit seemingly wouldn't let him. Or would Peter not give up the suit? You see, the symbiote has given Peter so many amazing benefits. It's made him stronger than he could ever imagine, being able to easily pull down doors in a way he wasn't able to do before. Even then, it's got more practical uses, such as being able to transform into a suit for a more stealthy approach when it comes to Peter needing to get in to a crowded venue. It's like the suit listens to him. It helps him. He needs it. And even when some negative side effects of this symbiote suit start showing up, Peter just simply ignores them, seeing them as inconsequential or not really even mattering. I mean, when else would Spider-Man viciously throw someone out of a window?
That wasn't me. You should ice that.
I mean, Peter is even scaring his own teammates. When Miles sees Peter in the symbiote for the first time, he is beyond spooked. I mean, who else wouldn't be when you see your usually cheery, bright, and bubbly Spider-Man looking like this? And it doesn't even just extend to the way in which he looks, it also extends to the way in which he acts. Spider-Man has almost this lesser disregard for people. I mean, he just threw a civilian to the ground with very little care. He's so singularly minded, he's so focused on getting the lizard, that he pretty much is shutting everyone else out of his life, including Miles, basically shoving him to the side.
Let's go, man, before he gets too far. No. He's mine. You sure? He's got big teeth. So do I.
Peter even starts to push away Mary Jane, someone who has basically been down for the cause since she found out he was Spider-Man nearly a decade ago.
Hey, any look at Connor's house?
No, but tracking him right now.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Meaning something.
Miles was off his game. We almost had Lizard.
I'm sure he was just trying to help.
Sometimes it's just easier to do things myself.
That's not fair, Pete. We're a team.
We just really need Connors right now. For Harry.
Okay. Let me know when you find him.
Or just his blatant lack of care for his best friend who is dying without this suit.
Harry, you're alive. I haven't heard from you in a while.
I'm close to finding Dr. Connors. As soon as I stick him with the antidote, this suit's coming right back to you.
Okay. Let me know when you find him.
And this doesn't even just extend to his friends. The blatant disregard he feels when dealing with even his foes like the Lizard, and the extreme amounts of aggression and basically overpowering he does of his enemies is vehemently shown throughout the game. Or just the blatant lack of disregard when he chases the Lizard through New York, destroying the museum and causing unknown amounts of property damage, more than we're used to seeing for Spider-Man. But you know, maybe we could just chalk this up to Spider-Man having a particularly bad day. But the thing is, Peter doesn't even notice that most of these changes are being made. I mean, some of the most egregious are just in the way in which he chooses to talk to Dr. Connors throughout the last stage of the boss fight.
After all the times I've helped you, figured you'd just return the favor for once! weak to get control back, aren't you? I'm gonna have to punch you out myself! Time for your medicine.
But to top it all off, when Peter finally does get Dr. Connors healed and cured and back to his human form so that he can help him take the symbiote off, Peter almost immediately rejects the notion of being separated from the symbiote. He believes that it makes him better. It makes him perfect. That maybe, just maybe, with the symbiote, he doesn't have to deal with all the same problems Peter Parker had to deal with beforehand.
Not exactly. I was hurt, and
it chose you. Which means it's more dangerous than I could have imagined. We need to call Oscorp. We need to destroy it.
Destroy us? You said it chose me, Doc. It makes me a better Spider-Man.
Much like a real-life addiction, Peter is using the black suit as a sort of coping mechanism. He believes that with it, he is so far above what he used to be, that maybe he can be everything everyone needs him to be when he's using the black suit. And this all stems from the fact that Peter just doesn't want to lose people anymore. He just can't. He is so done with losing people and not being able to be the best Spider-Man he can be. But this just leads him to pushing more and more of his friends away, and he doesn't even realize it. He believes that he is better with the black suit, when in all reality, he is simply worse. Peter has repeatedly, since he gained the black suit, shoved MJ aside and basically just doesn't care for her almost at all. He can't even be bothered to read her article that she is almost begging him to read. And it gets even worse when hunters decide to not only track him to Aunt May's old house, but attack him there. And the entire time the attack and the assault is going on, Peter is asleep. He's letting the suit essentially puppeteer his body while he gets some sleep. Much like how some people are almost sleepwalking throughout their time with their chosen substance and or chosen vice. Peter begins to deeply scare the people that are surrounding him. No matter how much they try and help him, he is actively scaring them, or in some cases just trying to actively hurt them, whether he knows it or not.
There! That's my exit!
Peter is so deeply enthralled within his addiction to this black suit that he doesn't even notice it's a problem. He can't even tell, and that is the scariest part. A lot of people fall into a vicious cycle of use and abuse, whether that be of substances or even regular everyday things. Think technology, think sugar, these benign things that we don't really talk about. I mean, Peter isn't even fazed that he has a ton of missed calls and has fallen asleep on a park bench. And everything that is even slightly negative towards him, he takes as an instant threat or instant attack on his character.
MJ, what are you doing?
And Peter just continues to treat his friends like absolute trash. Harry is quite literally on death's door without that suit, and Peter couldn't care less, essentially thinking that he needs it more.
This suit is the only reason I'm still alive.
Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it?
Why don't you pop some more pills and say what you're really feeling?
Hey, don't.
I'm busting my ass out there trying to save you, and this is what I get?
I said don't.
I saw your story.
I tried to tell you about that.
Yeah, but you didn't, did you?
I can't lose this job.
Your job is to write the truth.
I did.
The truth is, I'm the hero here, not you.
All this while Peter's protege Miles has been kidnapped by Kraven and has been gone for God knows how long, and he doesn't even seem fazed when he decides to confront Rio about it. He seems upset with her that she would even request his help.
Miles. I've been calling you. For hours. Nothing. You know Miles has been hunting Lee.
I'll find him.
I'm calling the
I
hospital.
said I'd find him. I've got this under control.
All Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man. Not school, not his friends. How to help you. Go help him.
It truly takes Peter hitting near rock bottom for him to really understand the way in which the suit is affecting him and just how bad it's getting. I mean, Peter is willing to damn near kill a dude just to get the information and whereabouts on where Miles is. And when he confronts Kraven, it's like all hell just let loose. Peter was on the verge of quite literally killing someone, breaking one of his founding rules, which was to be a hero, to protect people. Peter was pretty much willing to throw that all out of the window in order to kill Kraven, simply because it would be easier for him to do so. And when Miles stops him from doing that, he quickly turns his aggression from Kraven straight onto Miles. It's like he has no off switch anymore. And it takes this final fight with Miles for Peter to truly understand how far he has fallen into this addiction.
I need this suit. It makes me a better Spider-Man. You just want it for yourself.
Peter is extremely paranoid at this point, believing that everyone just wants to take the suit for themselves and take it from him. That's how far he has fallen down. That is how he truly thinks of this situation.
I can't let this go. I'm finally everything everyone needs me to be.
Yeah? You don't even answer my calls anymore, man. What about MJ? You could have killed her. I know you're hurting, Pete, but you're better than this.
It ended up taking one of Peter's closest friends and mentee to truly bring him out of where he was at. He had let all of life's problems essentially compile onto himself and push everyone away so that the only thing in his life that he could have or that he would need was his addiction. And that's a thing that happens with a lot of people. Their addiction worms their way into their life and slowly pushes everyone and everything else out of it in order for it to be the only thing there. But sometimes it truly just takes one person being there for them in order to be able to kick the habit. I specifically remember reading this documentation about the Vietnam soldiers, the US soldiers who had fought in Vietnam. Almost all of them were doing heroin because it was given to them to help with medical needs on the battlefield. But when they returned home, more than 80% of them stopped using because they were finally surrounded by loved ones again. It truly takes being surrounded by people for them to be able to move on. And the same thing happened to Peter. He realized the amazing support system he had around himself. He was finally able to let go. But I think the most real part of this whole story, the thing that I think Insomniac gets better than any other people who have tackled the symbiote storyline, just because you have kicked your habit, your addiction, stopped using your vice, it doesn't mean that it's gone. Part of it will always stay with you for the rest of your life. And I think that's something Insomniac got well.
He said there was still some of this thing inside him.
I see. I think I can clear it out of him.
Only if I go to the source. I'm going in with you.
Addiction isn't surface level. It's not as simple as one day waking up and deciding, oh, I'll stop using, or oh, I'll stop using my phone, for example, for 12, 14 hours a day. It's an active choice and an active decision you have to make every day. And for Peter, his is rooted deep down inside himself, in his greatest insecurities. And that's usually where addiction lies. For him, it starts with the raft. It's a sort of personification of all of the enemies he has tried to put away throughout the years, and how no matter what, they keep coming back and keep coming out to hurt people. But the symbiote can fix all of that just by destroying every single last one of those enemies, by killing all of them.
No. The symbiote. He killed them all.
The problem's solved.
That's not what Pete thinks.
No, but it might be how he feels.
And where addiction has rooted itself the most is deep down inside Peter's psyche at his most vulnerable position. When Peter lost Aunt May, it sort of broke him for a little bit. It is his greatest failure in his own mind, was losing Aunt May. And he hasn't really talked about it since the event happened. The symbiote was sort of making promises to him. His addiction was making promises that if he had it, nothing else like that would ever happen again. Peter didn't start using or abusing the symbiote because he loved the power. He started using it because he believed it would truly make him a better Spider-Man. And I think that's why a lot of people use. It's to get away from their problems. Maybe it makes them feel better, or the fact that they feel they can do better. And unfortunately, a lot of the times it's simply not the truth. Unfortunately, addiction will usually lead to worse outcomes. Every day you stop using, you have to make an active choice not to. Addiction will always live inside you. It lives inside all of us. For a matter of fact, a lot of Americans are addicted to sugar, for example. That's something that we all have to come to terms with and deal with. But having a support system around you makes it so much better.
I saw May when I was in your head. It's not your fault, Pete. She wanted to save you. To save all of us.
She never thought about herself. Even when she was struggling to breathe.
If May, my dad, if they were here, they would want us to stop thinking about them. They'd want us to help people. To fight. Harry's still in there. And we're gonna fight like hell to get him back.
Call the play, coach.
I make this video for a while now. It's just that I had to jump through a few hoops to sit down and record the footage for this episode. Addiction is definitely a permeate thing to think about for me when it comes to my own personal family or just in my everyday life. I mean, I spend somewhere upwards of 10 hours a day looking at my computer screen, working on these videos for you all. I'm definitely addicted to technology, especially when it comes to something like my phone. And it has definitely pulled me away from being with my family, 100%. And that's something I have to learn to manage better as a content creator. It's part of the reason why I've personally moved away from making 2 videos a week and have started going to about 1 video a week. It truly is something that affects me. And if it affects you, I completely understand. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it.